The study hall dilemma. This is really a message more for the writers of the study hall questions as opposed to the people who take those questions, the poor people who take the questions. And when I say poor, they've been subject to taking the questions because they're looking to do good on their test. And they take these questions really thinking they're the holy grail. But when you get into the questions, as a professional, you'll realize that some of them are very poorly written. Now, I used to recommend any questions written by the PMI until it came to my attention that these questions were very poorly written. This is the post in question on Reddit, and it says, PMI study hall questions are terrible. That summarizes the entire argument here. The questions are very poorly written. Some of the questions on the more, in quote, difficult end of the spectrum do not seem to be written by someone who has a sound Agile understanding. Because trust me, I've taken exams from the Scrum Alliance, I've taken exams from Ken Schwaber's company, I've taken a PMI ACP exam, I have 6 Agile certifications. So when I come across a question that is hazy and not a very good question, I got to say something about it. PMI Study Hall team, you got to get your act together. These questions are not good enough. These questions can be quite frustrating to the user. You read a question and you read the answer given and you're like, there's no way that could be the answer. For example, there was a question I saw that equated solving communication issues to just having the daily scrum. That was the solution. Have a daily scrum, solve your communication issues. But that's not really how it works in the world of Agile. First of all, you need to address what the problem is. Speaking in a daily scrum is not an automatic fix button for solving problems. That's just one example. And there are many other examples. I mean, if you really wanted to dig into it, study hall team, I encourage you to improve your product by listening to what people have to say, especially on the PMI Reddit group, the PMP Reddit group. Go read what people are saying about the study hall. I cannot recommend it to my students because it is not good enough. Some of the questions in there, I know those questions would never fly, never, on the actual PMP exam. I know they won't. Now, when we take a look at how the questions are rationalized, this is another one that came to my attention. There was someone who actually posted a screenshot of a question that was half-baked because it had a comment from one of the question writers on why the question should be included and left a note for someone else. I mean, that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Something else that I've noticed occurring a lot in the study hall is something like this. Now, I'm not saying this is one of the questions. This is not wrong entirely, but I want to show you some of the frustrations that a student might encounter. I'm not saying this question is wrong. All right. So in this example, I'm not showing the question, just the responses. We have, out of the 113 votes, 67 choose the wrong answer, right? I want to wager that this would not fly on the PMP exam, because when you have this, you see a bias in what people are choosing. The answer is wrong, by the way, right? The one that everyone chose is wrong, but it remains as D being the right answer. First of all, D is written very poorly because quality assurance has nothing to do with a final deliverable in the world of PMI. That has more to do with checking the process. Arranging for a deliverable evaluation suggests quality control. So this is written very poorly. Is it not audited by people that know the PMBOK guide? How do you make this an answer when it's clearly off? Is it to trap people in a wrong option? You know what I mean? Because this is the given right answer. This is wrong because stories don't have the definition of done. Stories have acceptance criteria, granted. But this is just showing you that in the real world, this probably won't fly, because if every question is like this on the real exam, where majority get the question wrong, then you know that everyone's going to be getting the entire exam flunked. But that's all I have to say. I want the team to take some time to improve this product. Some of the options, even in the name of difficulty, are not good. They do not provide a compelling reason. They robotically quote some archaic text that is no longer in existence, even in the world of PMI, like quoting PMBOK 5, for goodness sake. Some of the questions are quoting O'Reilly, the O'Reilly book, while that isn't even in the scheme of what is in PMI's library for the PMP currently. I really want to encourage the team to go and clean up the questions, up the confidence level so that people like me can recommend the product to others. Because right now, I'm not recommending it. What I actually would recommend is looking at the old version of questions that PMI very kindly put out way back when, because those are better. Those have a better argument for the answers. Are some of the answers a little bit iffy? Yes, but it's not as bad as Study Hall. Study Hall, the noise levels are just deafening. So instead of feeling happy about people buying the tool, I think the focus needs to be on getting the tool to be better in the questions. Okay? For any of you who is thinking of getting it, I would not recommend it. I would recommend you working on questions that are better written, because these are not well written. I'm off my soapbox. Anyone on the team wants to speak, reach out to me. But I would highly recommend going to read about what people are saying about your product online, because the questions are not sound. Find someone, this is my recommendation, find someone who may be involved in writing professional questions for Agile organizations like the Scrum Alliance, like scrum.org. Find people involved in that if you can. It might bring some real world professional balance to the questions. Again, I do not recommend Study Hall because I don't think the questions are there yet. Bye for now.